ようこそ。初めて広島訪問ということを聞いておりまして、心から感激をしております。
First, I would like to extend my warmest welcome to you for visiting our city for the first time. Thank you very much for coming to our city today.
昨日は平和記念資料館を訪れられたというふうに聞いてますけどもね、どんな受け止めかなと今ちょっと関心を持っております。
Yesterday, I heard that yesterday you visited the Peace Memorial Museum, and now I'm wondering what kind of impressions you had there.
とにかくマンハッタン計画の国立歴史資料館ですね、展示とか今後のその展開などについてですね、非常に広島の心をですね、理解した上での対応をしていただいているというふうに思っておりましてね、感謝申し上げたいし、これからもこういったいい関係をですね続けていければなというふうに思っているところであります。
And talking about the Manhattan Project, National Historic Park, we believe that you could share in the wish of Hiroshima and the spirit of Hiroshima, that is a wish for the abolition of nuclear weapons and the lasting world peace. And I would like to express my gratitude for that. And also, I would like to have this kind of good relations with you for many years.
とりわけ原爆開発に関わる動機づけについてですね、アメリカ側のそのいわば主張と、当時その戦争状態にあったね、かつ被爆を受けた日本側の主張それぞれにですね違った点はあるんですけども、私自身はそういったその考え方どっちに原因があるかとかということをねその超えてですね、原爆を使った後の、14万人もの向こうの市民がですね犠牲になると、こういった事態そのことをですね、今後の世界で発生させてはいけないと、その一点でですねこれから多くの方の特に市民社会の英知を集めてですね、そういった事態が起こらないようにするための取り組みをですね、広島の心を共感できる方々と一緒にやっていきたいと思ってましてね、そんな中でケリー理事長はですねとても深く理解していただいている方だと思ってますのでね、今日ここに来ていただいたことをね、もっぺんその取り組みを強化するためのね出発点にできればなというふうに今思っているところであります。
And talking about the reasons why the atomic bomb was developed in those days, and what the American government says, and what the Japanese government says, their different opinions. But I think it is very important to know the reality of the atomic bombing and not identifying the reasons for that and the causes for that. And the fact is that because of the atomic bombing, 140,000 innocent citizens were killed by the bombing, and that kind of tragedy should never be repeated. That's what we think. So to realize a world free from nuclear weapons, we need the collection of wisdom of many people and of the civil society, and we would like to work with those who share in their spirit of Hiroshima with us. And I believe that President Kelly shares in what we would like to achieve, and we would like you to renew your pledge toward that end by visiting here in Hiroshima.
ちょうどね一昨日ロシアとアメリカのね大使館に参りましてね、今問題となっている INF 全廃条約についてのね立場について双方のお話も聞きですね、それぞれの大統領にお伝えしていただきたいという話をしてきたんですけども、 その時の話もちょっと紹介しますとね、それで両国ともにですね、INF 全廃条約などについての取り扱いをね、破棄しなきゃいけない原因はですね、ロシアからするとアメリカにあると、アメリカ側にするとロシア側にあると、こういった言い分なんですけどね、ここで広島市長というか、その平和市長会議を代表するものとしてね、両国にお伝えしたいのはね、どちらに原因があって条約破棄をしなければいけなくなったという、そういう理由をね、判断するということ以上にね、もし破棄してしまって、お互いに誤って核のボタンをね、押すことになるかもしれないという状態を作り上げる、あるいはそれ以外の核保有国もね、そういった状況になりやすい環境を作ること、そのことをですね、今理性を持ってですね、ストップかけると、そういう発想を持っていただきたいということを申し上げてるんでですね、これからに向けて、今までの原因がこうだったからというエクスキューズをするんじゃなくて、これからに向けて市民社会の総意を受け止めて、どう行動すべきかということを考えていただきたいということなんですということを申し上げてきたんですけどね、この基本姿勢、二度と悲惨な状況をね、この世にもたらさないためにどういう行動をするかということこそね、各国首脳にも考えてもらいたいし、この各国首脳の考え方に大きく影響する市民社会もね、そういう考え方を共有してもらいたいなというふうに思っているところであります。
And actually, 2 days ago, on the 12th of February, I visited the embassies of the United States and also Russia. And at that time, I delivered their letters of request to their ambassadors and the representative of their embassy. And we talked about the INF treaty there, the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, and I listened to their opinions there, and they said that the demise, the possible demise of the INF Treaty was caused by the other countries. So I mean the counterparts. On the Russian side, they said that's because of the fault of the American government, and the American government said that that's because of Russia's actions. And they said that, but I think it is not good to identify what kind of causes have resulted in their demise, the possible demise of the INF Treaty, but it is important not to repeat what happened many years ago again. And I, as the mayor of Hiroshima and also the representative of the mayors of peace, I said that it is important that for the world leaders and also the civil society to have a notion that they have to stop that kind of trend towards their use of nuclear weapons, because if this kind of trend lasts, they might use their nuclear weapons by mistake. So there is that possibility there, and other nuclear weapon states might use the nuclear weapon. So it is not important for us to identify the causes and reasons why that kind of thing will happen, but we have to have a future-oriented idea, and the world leaders should think about what they should do when they think about our future, and so as not to repeat the same thing again in the future, they have to take actions toward achieving a world without nuclear weapons.
最後、そのためにもですね、両国首脳にぜひ長崎、広島に来て被爆の実相をね、直接見てくださいという要請をしてまいりましてね、そのリアリティですね、被爆の実相をね、本当に自分の目で見ればですね、どなただってね、自分がもしそういう境遇になったらね、 いいことないと、あってはならないと思うはずだと信じてましてね、この被爆の実相をしっかりと守って確認してもらって、その思いを次の世代に広く伝えていくということをね、しっかりやっていきたいと思ってますのでね、これからもそういった立場で協力をしていただければというふうに思っております。長くなりましたけども、歓迎の挨拶、こんなところです。
And at the time when I visited the embassies, I delivered the letters, request letters to ask the leaders of both countries to visit our A-bombed cities. And because I believe that if they see the reality of the atomic bombing here at the A-bombed city, they will understand that that kind of tragedy should never happen again. So the city of Hiroshima preserve the reality of the atomic bombing and trying to convey what happened here to future generations. And in that regard, I would like to ask for your ongoing support.
Next, we'd like to ask Ms. Kelly to say a few words. We heard that you visited Japan this time to collect interviews to publicize them as peace education materials for youth around the world. On this occasion, please ask the mayor any questions you prepare.
First, I wanted to say how honored I am to be here. And I am so impressed with the work that you have done personally as a world leader on this issue, and to have just met with both the embassies in Russia and the United States, kind of broker a peace. Kind of don't move so fast to rip up the INF, the Intermediate Nuclear Range Treaty, but think about the long-term implications for humanity. Is such an important message, and you have been so successful, you and Mayor Tao in Nagasaki, carrying the Mayors for Peace forward all these years with 7,700 mayors. And I knew that in Boston in April, you had a standing ovation from the United States mayors, which was, you know, you really have, there is a lot of support for your message in the United States for peace. And having visited yesterday for the first time your Peace Memorial Museum, and walked the grounds, it is very moving. And you have done an excellent job in conveying the human tragedy. And you can't help but be moved by that experience. And I want to thank you and all of those who work with you to try to create this memorial and to help generations to come to remember and understand the depths of this tragedy. So it is united in our efforts to help people understand, to educate the next generation of students and young people, as well as the general public, about what happened as a result of dropping a nuclear weapon. And if you think about the size of Hiroshima, which the bomb, you know, is it 15 kilotons, it's a baby weapon compared to the hydrogen bombs and the other bombs that have been developed since then. So that it clearly needs to, people need to grasp the consequences of acting in their so-called national interest. It is not in anyone's national interest to use such a weapon ever. So it's a difficult issue. And there are a lot of people who don't want to think about it. And it's easy after nearly 75 years for people to forget. But thanks to your efforts, it's very important to remind people and remember that what happened here. So, thank you.
今のお話でね、次の若い世代に伝えるということがとても重要だというのは私同感でありましてね、4月の25日に平和記念資料館のリニューアルをいたしますけどもね、75年間どんどん被爆の実相を忘れかけている多くの方々、とりわけ若い世代にですね、被爆の実相をしっかり頭に入れていただいて、二度とこんなことを起こすべきではないということを分かってもらうための、リニューアルということにもなりますしね、多くの方をどんどん広島に、来てもらうようにしたいなというふうに思ってます。
And I totally agree what you talked about. So it is very, very important to convey what happened to the next generations. And talking about our city's initiative, on the 25th of April this year, we will reopen the main building of the Peace Memorial Museum. And we have done the renovations of the building, and that's because many people there are forgetting about what happened here, and the memory of the atomic bomb is fading. So I hope that a lot of people, especially young people, will understand that that kind of tragedies should never happen again. And so I hope that a lot of people will visit our city to see the reality of the atomic bomb.
それからもう一つはね、世界中にある言葉が分かりませんけどね、天災は忘れた頃にやってくると。その自然の災害はね、人々がその災いを受けた記憶をね、忘れた頃にやってくるっていうのが、実際この広島の地でもですね、5年前に土砂災害がありまして、また4年後の去年もですね、土砂災害があったということなんですけどもね、この人々が煩わしいことを忘れた頃にまた新たな災いが起こるっていうのはですね、ひょっとすると天災だけじゃなくてね、人災もそう、人々が引き起こすその戦争とかね、核爆弾の使用みたいな話もね、忘れた頃にやってくるというか、忘れた頃にまた同じような事態をね、発生させるということかなと思ってましてね、そのためにもそういった災いを絶対に起こさないためには、この世から核兵器をなくすということが一番ですけど、それが叶わない間でも忘れた頃にやってくるという、そういう事態を起こさないようなその市民社会の意識をですね、その高め続けるということをね、やっていきたいなというふうにも思ってます。
And maybe it's the same all around the world, but we say that the natural disasters happen when we forget about what happened. So in Hiroshima, also 5 years ago, we had a landslide disaster, and also last year there was a large-scale landslide disaster happened here. And so I think that not only the natural disaster, but also man-made disaster might happen when we forget about it. So the explosion of nuclear weapon might happen again. So if we forget about it, so it is. I know that the best way to prevent that result is to the abolition of nuclear weapons. But even if we can't do that, it is important for the civil society to remember what happened and to prevent the same thing to happen again.
I agree. very well said. We definitely need to remember what happens when nuclear weapons are used, and the results are nothing but disastrous. Nobody wins. As our President Reagan and the Soviet President Gorbachev said in the 1980s, no war can ever be fought with nuclear weapons, and no war can ever be won with nuclear weapons. It seems in 30-some years we've forgotten, perhaps. Forgotten, and people need to be reminded that building more arsenals of weapons does not lead to greater security.
Yeah.
So your work is very important, and the remembrance of what happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki is vital. And we, the Atomic Heritage Foundation, want to work with you and your colleagues to help create programs to educate young people in the United States and around the world online about what happened.
そのためにも平和首相会議のねメンバー都市をこれからも増やしていきたいと思います。7700ですけど、これ日々増えてましてね、とりわけ核兵器を持っている国の都市のですね賛成者をね増やしていきたいと思いますのでね、そういった取り組みにも引き続き協力していただけるとありがたいなというふうに思います。
And to that end, I think it is important to increase the membership of the Mayors for Peace. And as you said, the number of the member city is now 7,700, but it is increasing every day. So I think we would like to call on the cities, especially of their nuclear weapons states, to join our Mayors for Peace. And in that regard, I would like to ask for your ongoing support.
Thank you.
I think the mayor did an excellent job of answering the questions that I had. It would be just want to emphasize again how much we want to learn from Hiroshima and Nagasaki and use that as a building block for education and outreach to the public, to students in the United States who may not appreciate this, to educate them in high school and other university, but also to reach audiences online. The Atomic Heritage Foundation has a website that has many resources. We have we had 500 interviews with Manhattan Project scientists. And at the end of this trip, we will have 2 interviews with Havaksha, but that's only 2. We need to link to your collections here in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, perhaps, so that it is easy for people to see and listen to those accounts and understand what happened after the bombs were dropped and what the long-term effects are of nuclear weapons.
今言ったように被爆の実相をですね正確に伝え、とりわけその長い影響を残すね放射能の影響についてね知っていただくことで多くの人々の私から言うと理性を覚醒させてあるべき姿をですね皆さんが追求すると、そんなムーブメント動きをね一緒になって加速させていきたいと思いますのでよろしくお願いします。
So I think it is important to convey what happened, exactly what happens here in Nagasaki to the next generation, and also the long-term effect of the radiation. It should be conveyed to many people, and we are trying to awaken the intelligence of the people in that regard, and to encourage them to seek for to achieve a world without nuclear weapons. So in that regard, I would like to ask for your support with us.
Oh, absolutely.